The following is based on eyewitness testimony.
I'm Brian Lawrence Wilkins. I'm a sergeant first class in the United States Army. I am based out of Fort Huachuca in Arizona. Late in the evening on October 6th, I was returning to base after being on leave for the weekend. I was visiting my fiancée who lives in Tucson. I was on State Route 90, just over 30 minutes from the base, when I saw a pair of whitish lights over a mountain range to the east. I thought they belonged to a pair of Blackhawks heading to Davis Mountain on some joint force maneuvers. As I got closer to the lights, I realized it wasn't the case. It seemed like one solid object. I pulled to the side of the road and watched the object stop in mid-flight, unlike any aircraft I've ever seen. The light stopped, seemingly, over the highway, like in front of me, above my car. The light made what seemed like sequential flashes, as if it were sending a message. Then shortly afterwards, it split into two lights and flew away in two different directions, left and right. I sat there for a few minutes before continuing to base.
Thanks to all of you for making me feel welcome. With our workload, I know these are trying times for all of us. But before we get into those, I want to ask a question that may have crossed your mind as well. With all the accessible media and capture devices, including the smartphone, tablet technology, why aren't we getting better footage of these images of unexplained phenomena?
Well, let's look at it this way. How many accidents do we actually capture at the time of the incident versus the aftermath? What will the cameras or the videos record? An empty room or an empty sky? When we do see accidents unfold, it's usually because the cameras were recording a specific yet unrelated event.
We do get some footage of the unexplained, but I feel there should be more today because the technology is more accessible to the eyewitnesses.
I can answer that with specifics.
It was a warm 4th of July night when Tyson Marshall and Angela Delaney were sitting in her backyard at her Glendale home. They were having a casual conversation and enjoying the occasional fireworks bursting in the clear night sky. Tyson was having problems with his smartphone. He wanted to take pictures and video of some of the fireworks, but he couldn't pull up the camera app. Angela decided to go inside the house and get her own personal, digital camera. Tyson continued to work on the app. He then noticed a group of lights moving towards him from the east. He was thinking that it was a group of helicopters heading for nearby Luke Air Force Base. He returned to trying to fix the issue with his phone. A few moments later, Tyson looks around and sees a massive craft that was floating above the neighborhood, moving in a westerly direction. It was on a flight path that would take it directly over Tyson's position. The object was circular shaped and a light metallic color. As the craft moved overhead, Tyson was able to get a better look. The craft had white lights in the front section and blinking bluish lights in the rear. The object accelerates and rapidly moves out of the area towards the west, out of sight.
This is what happens. A prime example. Rarely is it the perfect scenario where you're not caught off guard.
Occasionally, I do have one of those rare moments of clarity. Mrs. Hazinski and her family live in a typical middle-class neighborhood. Her and her son and daughter had just returned from a soccer game at the local middle school. She heard that familiar sound that most of us who live here in the valley hears because we live between military installations.
This is good. We're going to analyze the heck out of this. Show off. Thanks, Bob.
We always want more detail because that makes our job so much easier. I think that the way we do things now is making us better investigators, because we found out that the visual is not always reliable. And in those cases, we must rely on the eyewitness testimony.
Words of wisdom. Thank you, Ruth. Is there anything new from the sergeant?
The sergeant had another encounter yesterday.
That's interesting.
About a half hour later, I made it to a gas station in Sierra Vista. I was parked at a pump looking for my credit card when I got a knock on my driver's side window. I saw two men in black suits standing there. They seemed to come from seemingly nowhere. They motioned me to roll down the window, and I reluctantly complied.
Forget what you saw. There is a logical explanation for it, and it does not concern you.
After they gave me their message, they walked away into the darkness. It was weird.
Men in black are supposed men dressed in black suits who claim to be quasi-government agents who harass, threaten, or assassinate UFO witnesses to keep them quiet about what they have seen. It is sometimes implied that they may be aliens themselves. The term is also frequently used to describe mysterious men working for unknown organizations, as well as various branches of government allegedly designed to protect secrets or perform other strange activities. The term is generic, used for any unusual, threatening, or strangely behaved individual whose appearance on the scene can be linked in some fashion with a UFO sighting. Several alleged encounters with the men in black have been reported by UFO researchers and enthusiasts.
You want to hear something more interesting? I think I had one of those MIB experiences myself.